Y'all get ready?
Yes, you get ready.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovelyti TV show, bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovelyti TV show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
I enjoyed the Super Bowl. I thought it was kind of boring, low key, as far as like the game. It wasn't a lot of excitement. But I did enjoy the halftime show with Bad Bunny, aka Benito. Now, let me say this. Y'all know I don't speak Spanish. You know, I be trying, but I don't know how. I can understand a little bit. But I thought the Super Bowl halftime performance was good. I thought it was very interesting. And being that I've been to Puerto Rico, it was amazing just to see, you know, just everything that he showed. There's a lot of hidden messages. I did see a lot of people doing breakdowns on the different messages and stuff like that about the halftime performance. And granted, it was all in Spanish, so I don't know a lot of his music like that. But just the symbolism, the pride, the things that he was trying to get across to the masses, regardless of language barrier, I respected it. This is what I wrote on Instagram. Let me go ahead and pull up my Instagram page because I wrote a cute little, you know, dissertation because Trump was big mad, okay? MAGA and them was big mad. They didn't like it. They said it was too much Spanish, too much, you know, this is America. This ain't Mexico. I'm like, well, Puerto Rico's not in Mexico, bitch. It's a part of America. You know what I mean? Remember y'all colonized them back in the day? Y'all not ready for that conversation, though. You don't even need a visa to go there. It's a part of the United States. But the way that they still keep them colonized is not even allowing them to vote in any of the elections here. They don't get a lot of the same benefits that people in the mainland get, you know? And he's seen what's happened to Hawaii. If you guys have not watched my Hawaii deep dive, definitely go ahead and check it out. He's seen what has happened to Hawaii, and he does not want that to happen to Puerto Rico. So let me go ahead, before I show y'all what I have, let me go ahead and bring in my members chat. The members ain't playing like T. A lot of non-members in here. Let me change the chat to just the members only. All right, members. We gonna go ahead and get it popping, honey. Okay, so members only chat. Clock it. Okay. So, let me show you on my page real quick here. All right. So, Trump was big mad. Somebody had posted this. Trump calls Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show a slap to the face, a slap in the face to our country. He says the Super Bowl halftime show was absolutely terrible, one of the worst ever. It makes no sense. It's an affront to the greatness of America and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying. The dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching throughout the United States and all over the world. This show is just a slap in the face to our country, which is setting new standards and records every single day, including the best stock market 401k in history. There is nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show. And watch, it will be great reviews from the fake news media because they haven't got a clue what's going on in the real world. And by the way, the NFL should immediately replace its ridiculous new kickoff rule. Make America great again. President Donald Trump. Now, it's very funny that he's so offended by this. But the interesting thing to me is he's worried about the babies. Let me come back on the screen real quick. So he's saying, you know, what about the babies? He's out here dancing provocatively. You know, he's out here, you know, the things that he's saying. Are you worried about the babies that are in the Epstein files, sir? I'm just saying, I mean, if we're going to talk about babies, are you worried about the babies that are being eaten like turkey jerky and shit, bitch? We want to talk babies. Because you can't in one breath say that the Epstein files is fake, everybody needs to get over it. But then when Bad Bunny is winding his motherfucking hips, now it's too much for the babies. Make it make sense. Okay? Y'all don't give a damn about them damn babies. And my thing is, what was y'all doing watching the show any damn way? Weren't y'all supposed to be busy watching TPUSA's halftime show? As soon as Bad Bunny's performance went off, all the MAGA folks, him, everybody, attached to them, they were the first ones on Twitter tweeting their ass off about how bad the show was. Well, how do y'all know? I thought y'all was watching Charlie Kirk's fake ass widow, Erica Fake Baker. Why are y'all over here? Weren't y'all supposed to be watching Kid Rock and the other people? But he's not going to watch them because he really didn't support Charlie like that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of jealousy. He really didn't like Charlie like that. Charlie was a means to an end. Because it wasn't even, 2 days after he died, he was like, next topic, we're talking about rebuilding this ballroom. So anyways, this is what I wrote on the gram. Pull this back up. So I said this: the uncultured won't get it, and it's not Benito's job to make them get it. This was a historical moment, and Bad Bunny delivered at the Super Bowl. This wasn't just a performance, it was him paying homage to Puerto Rico and the Latin American diaspora on the biggest stage on earth. I don't speak Spanish, but I've been to Puerto Rico, and it's a beautiful place with a lot of history and poverty due to exploitation and colonialism. This message hit home for me, but to each his own. 100 Puerto Rico flag. Okay? Y'all watch my Puerto Rico vlog. If you wasn't feeling away in your feelings, because, people be mad when you're having a good time and you actually get a vacation. But for the ones who are happy that I actually went on vacation and who weren't hating, y'all watch my Puerto Rico vlog. I had a good time. I loved it. I learned a lot. You know what I'm saying? Nani, our tour guide. Shout out to all the 20 people who came, with me to Puerto Rico. We had an amazing time. That will always live in my heart. We learned so much. Our guide, when we went to the forest, to the rainforest, me and her were chopping it up in the front, and she was just telling me about colonialism and the things that they went through, and she made sure to take us to Loeza so we could see more like the African part of Puerto Rico, where they have a lot of African influence. It was just amazing. It was an amazing experience to see how people are living on the island. We stayed in hotels, but when you really travel the island, you really see how people are living. And, when he started off with the sugar canes, that was the exploitation. They didn't get to reap the benefits. It was nothing but modern day slavery, just in a different name. The people on the islands did not reap the benefits. Even now, you have a lot of influencers. I believe the Paul brothers, they now live in Puerto Rico. A lot of tech people are now moving to Puerto Rico. So they're in these beautiful gated communities with lights and everything else. Meanwhile, the regular folks are still, having to deal with living in little small homes, the electrical grid constantly going out. It's a lot of little issues out there. So I'm glad that he came, he performed, he did what he needed to do, to represent. And when I tell you, I know for a fact it had to be very heartwarming to a lot of people of Hispanic, Latino, and Caribbean culture. To see somebody, because he may not be super big, right? Let's say throughout America, the U.S., because a lot of people still don't really know his music like that. But internationally, he's very well known. It was a lot of Latinos who came to the Super Bowl to support him. They weren't even coming to see the game. We don't give a damn who wins. I done spent $8,000. I'm here to see Benito. Because they were doing interviews. Them Latinos, they dropped some money to see that man perform for 12 minutes. Okay? That's how hard they wanted to support him. And in Puerto Rico, I was watching some of the live streams from Puerto Rico. They were people in huge rooms. They rented out whole ballrooms for everybody to come and watch him. He really put on for that island on a major stage, as he should. And to people complaining about the language, let me say this, okay? I may not speak Spanish or even fully understand Spanish, but it is okay. Because for a lot of us, people of color, we don't necessarily need to understand the language. It's a vibe. It's the music. It's the beat. You know what I'm saying? You would never go to Italy and let's say you like opera music, oh, la, 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 you know how they sing. Imagine hiring an Italian opera singer to come to America and then telling him or her they need to do it in English. That totally that destroys the whole point of them coming to America to perform. Imagine telling K-pop, if you're going to perform in America, you need to perform in English. Well, what the hell is the point? You might as well just go get the Backstreet Boys or whatever boy band that's out. Why would they have to cater to us? That doesn't make any sense. He's a Latin artist. He performs, raps, and sings in Spanish. It is not his job to make us comfortable with his language. It is our job to say, well, if I'm interested in knowing what the hell this song is or what he's talking about here, you go and you do the research. And there was so many Puerto Ricans breaking that shit down on Instagram. Kudos to y'all. Because y'all was seeing stuff I didn't see. You know, I didn't grow up in Puerto Rico. You know, even when he went to the bodega and stuff like that, that reminded me of the Bronx. When I was out there, shout out to my girl Vicky, when she had me out in the Bronx, you know. The bodegas and things like that, the New York Rican culture. A lot of Puerto Ricans in New York. So I think he did an amazing job, you know, even though, again, I didn't understand everything that was being said, but I enjoyed it. And then I even found out with the Lady Gaga part, because that part kind of confused me, like, you know, why was she there? But I found out later that the song that she was performing, like the lyrics that when she came out, she had on the light blue dress. And that light blue dress is to represent the original flag of Puerto Rico. And I remember Nani telling us that the original flag, of Puerto Rico was light blue. But they changed it. They made it a darker blue so that way it could match the same color as the United States, the blue in the United States flag. But initially it was light blue. So that is the color of the dress that Lady Gaga came in on. Yes, WJW7, I did hear that he's a huge fan of Lady Gaga. But they said at that moment, the lyrics that were matching her dancing, he was basically saying to America, this is what you want. You want America to be blonde hair and blue-eyed. So I thought that was really cool, like the different messages and stuff that he was putting in there. You know, I thought that was like very, very interesting when I went back. And then to other people saying, oh, well, it's the Super Bowl. Don't nobody got time to be, you know, digging through Easter eggs and breakdowns. We just want to enjoy the show. Objection. Didn't y'all do the same thing last year with Kendrick Lamar? Didn't y'all do whole breakdowns on TikTok on, you know, when Kendrick's dancers moved in this formation, this is what it meant. When this popped out, this is what it... Y'all did the same thing. Y'all broke that down. So what is the problem? Now it's an issue because it's in Spanish? I love a good Easter egg. I don't care what language it's in. So kudos to Benito. So let's go ahead. A lot of the MAGA folks are mad. There's even a Republican senator who's in his feelings, and he wants the FCC to investigate Benito because they're saying what he did was totally uncalled for. So we're gonna watch all these people be mad and in their feelings. All right. So these are the folks who definitely were not feeling Bad Bunny or his performance. So Laura Loomer, you know, this jigsaw face ass lady with all the fillers and shit. This is what she had to say. She said, NFL should apologize to the American people for flooding the Super Bowl with foreign flags. Totally disgraceful. Nothing American about this. But again, this is the same Yahoo who has no problem flying the Israeli flag and, you know, paying homage to Israel because, you know, she's a Jewish woman, as she should. But for some reason, it bothers her spirit that this man is representing all these flags. The reason why he was representing all the flags, dumbass, is he was representing all of the flags in North and South America. Because so many times people think about America, they only think of the U.S. Okay? We're not the only people here. You have South America, you have Canada, you have a lot of things that make up the whole Americas. And that's what he was representing. But she's an idiot. She wouldn't know that. Kid Rock.
It's like, well, maybe Jay-Z will do it, which nothing against Jay-Z. I respect him for his hustle and, his music. But it seems like there's a little bit of a DEI hire there going on, to kind of like, black guys love Jay-Z. And of course, I'm not that ignorant. I know a lot of us love Jay-Z, not just black guys. But in the league where he had this problem, it seemed like, we'll bring him in. And so, Jay-Z's not going to take that position of power and that money. So, then they convened in a not for profit league until, they quietly got rid of that tax exempt status at some point, so Roger did not have to disclose his salary. So he had all sorts of problems. So he brings in Jay-Z. So he goes,
if most people.
Okay, let me go back to Kid Rock.
It's like,
I find it very interesting, and I'm no big fan of Jay-Z, but he's saying that Jay-Z was a DEI hire. Kid Rock, you literally used to rap on stage with Jay-Z. When you first came into our ether, when we were back in high school, you was hip hop to the core. So by that logic, bitch, you're DEI. Isn't it funny? And this is why I say, people got to start gatekeeping because they all do the same formula. He has songs he was performing at the BET Awards back in the day on stage with Jay-Z. Who remembers that? Years ago. But now he's calling Jay-Z a DEI hire. A man who even got famous. The only reason why he's famous is because of hip-hop. If it was not for hip-hop, these white folks wouldn't know who the hell you were. Okay? He came in, I'm from Detroit, I'm a pimp. All the negative connotations he represented in white skin. But now he's calling this black man a DEI hire. Interesting. On top of that, let's not forget Mr. Kid Rock. You have a lot of lyrics from back in the day where you were talking about fucking underage girls. And I get it. It was the Wild Wild West. People had crazy lyrics, just like Eminem had crazy lyrics. But you don't now get to be the moral and the bastion of, morality. Because you have lyrics about fucking underage girls. Because I was a Kid Rock fan. I used to listen to Kid Rock, Limp Bizkit with Fred Durst, Eminem, all them crazy ass white boys. We fuck with y'all heavy. And then what do y'all always end up doing? Throwing black folks under the bus, revamping yourselves, and now y'all are country. Same thing with Jelly Roll's big ass. I guess we need to call him Jelly Bean. He done, lost all that damn weight. He ain't a roll no more. When he can, and notice when they rap, they always wear they always push the most negative stuff. Selling drugs, guns, money. Because that's how they see blackness. But then when they turn country, it's all this positivity. Oh, I met my wife on the yellow brick road. My wife is so pretty. I'm driving my truck into the city. It's always positive shit. Oh, I've been working all day, working all night, working my fingers down to the bone. But when they were rapping, I be on the block selling drugs. I got bitches braiding my hair. I got bitches sucking my dick. They never bring that same energy into country. I'm a pimp. I'm a drug dealer. Go back and listen to old Jelly Roll. Go back and listen to old Kid Rock. So, no, Kid Rock, we're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. You don't get to come for Jay-Z and call him a DEI hire. Especially when he put your ass on. He helped put your ass on. Okay? Now me just making up some country lyrics. He tried it. He be pissing me off. All right, let's go to the next bozo.
People don't understand the lyrics because you're speaking it in what they deem to be a foreign language. That is a legitimate point that the president made. That part. That doesn't mean they had a problem with it. I'm just saying his statement that Most people didn't understand anything he was saying. There's millions upon millions of Americans that would have wanted to hear something in English other than Lady Gaga. That is true. And me personally, been nice to see J-Lo out there. Been nice to see Shakira out there. Been nice to see a few people celebrating their Hispanic heritage, no doubt. But it also would have been nice if some of the songs were in English. That's all. The president is speaking on behalf, or was speaking on behalf of tens of millions of Americans who are like, I didn't understand a word he was saying because I don't know Spanish. That is a valid point. If most people don't understand the lyrics because you're speaking it in what they deem to be a foreign language, that is a legitimate point that the president made.
Well, what do you mean what they deem to be a foreign language? It is a foreign language, Goofy. It's not what they deem, it is. Stephen A. Smith, shut up. Because again, just say that you're mad that you had to watch a bisexual Puerto Rican sit up there for 12 minutes. Because if Shakira came out there, you know, Shakira, you know, swinging her hips. Because she sings in Spanish a lot of times. Y'all don't have too much to say about that.
I like the Super Bowl not to be an international event. I like it when we kind of all come together as Americans, especially when it feels like the NFL is just using it as a marketing ploy to recruit Latin American audience on the heels of Latin America invading this country. 20 million pouring in, and that's what you see. You see all these foreigners speaking a foreign language with foreign flags marching into the camera like a caravan. Too soon. Listen, this was an open borders moment. Everybody knows it. That's what's going on here. And all the reporters, I like the Super Bowl.
Shut up, Jesse Waters. But you have no energy for when we invaded Venezuela. You have no energy for the destabilization that America has done in Latin America that has forced all of these said Latinos into America. Do you understand why these people were pouring in over the border? Because we did a lot of things to destabilize their countries. But you're not ready for that conversation.
I'm sorry, Piers, but to get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish. This is supposed to be a unifying event for the country, not for the Latinos, not for one small group, but for the country. We don't need a black national anthem. We don't need a Spanish-speaking, non-English performer, and we don't need an ICE or America hater featured as our primetime entertainment.
Okay, what is the national language, officially the national language of the United States of America?
I mean, English. And there's been a push for many years to make it an official
you don't have one.
Documented thing.
You don't have one.
If you would have let me finish my comment, I would have pointed that out, but people have been pushing to make it official. I'm sorry, Piers, but...
Okay, right, so you're trying to make official...
This attitude that you have right here is why you in Great Britain have lost your culture. You ceded your culture to a bunch of radical Muslims who came in and took over, and now it's gone. We're not allowing that here. Whether it's Hispanic, whether it's Muslim, it's not happening in the United States of America. That's why President Trump was elected. And whether it's Bad Bunny, who is American but refuses to speak English in his performances, or anybody else, we have to keep the Super Bowl, which is a quintessential American event. Football, that kind of football, is ours. They call it American football. And the halftime show and everything around it needs to stay quintessentially American. Not Spanish, not Muslim, not anything other than good old-fashioned American apple pie. There should be a meatloaf, maybe some fried chicken, and an English-speaking performer. That's what the Super Bowl should be.
Girl, shut the fuck up. First of all, this fucking bony neck bitch. You know what? First of all, Megyn Kelly, it's funny you have so much passion and you're so upset about this man performing in Spanish, but you was the same hoe sitting up here excusing the Epstein files, talking about they weren't really children. He's not really a pedophile. They were just, kind of young, 14, 15. She did not have none of this energy for the Epstein situation. That's why they were calling her Megyn R. Kelly. Imagine being this upset because somebody's performing in Spanish, but you have no energy for young girls who are being trafficked. Shut your dumb ass up. This just makes no sense. She's that angry. And then she's throwing out these little racist tropes, meatloaf and fried chicken. Bitch, I bet you can't even cook meatloaf or fried chicken. You're just trying to be funny. The fact that these people are this mad is disturbing because none of them had this same fire up their ass outside of Marjorie Taylor Greene and the other lady that was on Capitol Hill today looking at the unredacted Epstein files. Everybody else is just playing crazy. This is insane, but it gets worse. So now this is what they're trying to do to Bad Bunny. Okay, so now this is what they're trying to do to Bad Bunny. This is breaking as of an hour ago. He's facing backlash, and then there's a new Republican congressman. Well, he's not new, but he wants him investigated. So let's watch both of these videos here. That lady's just annoying as hell. Just always talking just to be talking. Girl, shut the fuck up. Comes to pedophiles, this bitch has no energy. Comes to this shit, oh, you can see the veins in her neck.
Halftime show was a ginormous rating success. 135.4 million people watched the Bad Bunny Spectacular, making it the most watched halftime show in history. That's not all. The show is also giving his music a huge boost.
On the day after his halftime performance, Bad Bunny took the top 6 spots on Spotify's top 50 U.S. chart.
But the Puerto Rico native, who sings exclusively in Spanish, continues to spark remarkable political backlash.
Not one word of English, one word of English, one word.
Conservative commentators are losing their minds.
Nobody understood a thing. We needed subtitles for our own Super Bowl.
Megyn Kelly is totally flipping out.
To get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish.
One Republican congressman is calling for an investigation, claiming the show was pure smut. The congressman says Bad Bunny's lyrics are X-rated, and it's true some of the original lyrics do have explicit words, but Bad Bunny toned it down for the Super Bowl. He either changed the lyrics or simply didn't sing the naughty words. Despite the backlash, the halftime show is also enjoying widespread glowing reviews. Exhilarating, says The Hollywood Reporter. A powerful message, says USA Today.
You didn't have to understand or speak Spanish to feel the joy and to feel the unity and the message of inclusivity that was there.
Yeah. Okay, so let me pull up the other guy that's complaining and crying.
Bad Bunny, bad performance of the Super Bowl halftime. We are still investigating this. There's a lot of information that has come out about the lyrics. I saw the halftime show and was switching back and forth with the TPUSA halftime show. The lyrics, from what we have seen from Bad Bunny, are very disturbing. And if it holds true that I don't speak fluent Spanish, okay? I know how to ask where the bathroom is, but these lyrics, if it is true what was said on national television, we have a lot of questions for the entities that broadcast this, and we'll be talking with Brendan Carr from the SEC about this. But this could be much worse than the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction. Let's put it that way.
But at least that was a malfunction. I mean, this was apparently intentional.
This was intentional, yes.
Yeah, and they could not have said this were it in English. So just the fact that we're at a place in our country where we had a fully not understandable halftime show to English-speaking people, which is the language of this country, by the way, and that it is that grotesque is just really disturbing.
And here's the ironic part, Dr. Gina.
Yeah.
The NFL purposely wanted a Hispanic star, basically, to perform at halftime because they're trying to attract more of a Latin America audience, and this is what they delivered.
Yeah, trying to pull them away from the football that they call that we call soccer, right? Yeah, I don't think this was a.
Okay, so you guys just heard what he had to say. He's in his feelings. He's big mad, and don't nobody give a fuck. At the end of the day, it's funny how he wants a full investigation. I want a full investigation by Congress on what's going on because, you know, his performance was just... Again, where's the energy for the Epstein files? Y'all don't want to investigate that. Y'all don't want certain names redacted. And thank you, I Am Brevine. The lady's name I was talking about was Laura Boebert. So thank you for that. Outside of her and Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm not seeing a lot of these folks on that side speaking up and wanting to get to the bottom of the Epstein files. But again, this is all a distraction. They're trying to act big mad about this situation because it's all a distraction. At the end of the day, this performance did for Puerto Ricans and, you know, Latinos in the diaspora what Kendrick Lamar did for, you know what I'm saying, the black community here in America. Same thing, different ethnicity. Kendrick don't got to sit there and explain everything, all the ins and outs. He was there to perform. If you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't, move around. And that is the same thing with this. If you enjoyed it, cool. If you didn't, cool. That is your opinion. But all this extra stuff, you know what I'm saying, being extra disrespectful, trying to investigate, you know, the performance and stuff like that, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. I don't know. It's almost like, let's be mad and distract with all this nonsense over here so they'll forget about what's going on over here. That's the vibe I'm getting.
You want the latest news in the streets? Join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovelyti TV show. Bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovelyti TV show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.